Hello, my name is Hadassah Treu and I'm an award-winning blogger, poet and author. Today I want to talk about remembering God in daily life and why it is so important to remember Him in daily life. First, I want to start with the biblical meaning of the word remember. The word translated with remember, remembrance, remembered in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the Psalms, is the Hebrew word zakar. This means not only to remember, but to think, to meditate on, to be mindful. In a broader sense, remembering means to focus on, to meditate on, to think about, to consider, to take into consideration, to acknowledge. So we see that although remembrance starts always with the mind, it finds its expressions in the whole body, in our actions and words. Remembering God is actually worshipping God. When we remember His deeds, His words, His truths, when we remember God for who He is, we are actually worshipping Him. And so we prepare our hearts to receive His comfort, guidance, hope and joy. What are the goals of remembering God in daily life? There are three main goals behind God's instructions to remember Him in daily life. The first goal is to enable us to put our trust in hope in Him. Remembering Him actually encourages us and motivates us to exercise faith and to move forward in faith. The second reason is that remembrance is part of the process of transformation. The more we focus on Jesus, the more we become like Jesus. The more we meditate and acknowledge God, the more we are being transformed in His image. And the third reason is the legacy of faith that we can leave for the next generations. Because if we remember God in daily life and we exhibit a vibrant faith, we are setting an example for the next generation and prepare for them a legacy of faith. What are the consequences of forgetting? Psalm 78 and Psalm 106 paint a sobering picture of the dire consequences if we fail to remember God and if we actually forget who He is and His truths and deeds. Some of these consequences are fear and defeat, disobedience, impatience, rebellion, envy, unbelief, putting God to test, worshipping idols, speaking against God, arousing God's wrath and judgment, being disloyal, faithless and unreliable, and bringing God's rejection and abandonment. We actually see that forgetting God is not harmless. Forgetting means slipping into sin, unbelief, rebellion, and ultimately destruction and even death. There are three areas of the ministry of remembering and reminding. The first area is directed towards ourselves. When we choose to focus on God in our thoughts and recall His words, deeds and truths, actually we are self-encouraging and self-edifying ourselves. Secondly, we minister to others when we remind them of who God is and of His truths. We do this by testifying, exhorting, encouraging, praying, and so on. And thirdly, we are to remind God continually of His promises. God actually wants us to remind Him of His promises, because when He remembers His promises, then miracles occur. Then we receive answers to our prayers. We receive God's deliverance, providence, care and provision. Do you struggle to remember God in daily life? If you have found this video helpful, I would be happy if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Till next time.